57,000. That's it. That is the exact number of jobs added to the U.S. payroll in June of 2026. It's a stunningly low figure, right? It fell way below expectations and marks the lowest monthly addition since the slowdown we saw back in 2024. But here's the thing, this isn't just some random macroeconomic blip. We are looking at a massive structural shift. Tech sector layoffs are mounting because companies are literally redirecting their headcount budgets straight into AI infrastructure. Entry-level knowledge work, coding assistants, administrative roles, they're all being displaced, and it's happening at lightning speed. The undeniable reality of labor market disruption is already here. So, welcome to this explainer on navigating AI disruption for the leveraged tech worker. Today, we're going to connect this massive macro-level AI explosion directly to your personal bank account. We're talking technological leaps, market shocks, and most importantly, we're laying out concrete financial strategies to actually help you survive this transition. All right, Section 1, the AI capability explosion, a new era of knowledge work. Just look at the massive shifts in model capabilities we've seen in the last few weeks alone. It's wild. Google's Gemini 3.5 Pro is out here casually dropping a 2 million token context window. Over at Meta, Llama 4 is completely shifting our default assumptions about what open source AI can even do. And then there's DeepSeek, offering top-tier capabilities but at literally 1/5 the token cost of Claude Opus 4.7. This drastic plunge in costs is forcing enterprises to abandon their legacy models just to stay alive. Now, contrast all that massive capital flowing into AI infrastructure with what's actually happening inside everyday corporations. Big tech is doubling down hard. You've got Menlo Ventures raising a $3 billion fund and Alphabet executing a staggering $84.75 billion raise. But over in traditional enterprise IT, crickets. Global bellwethers are narrowing their growth guidance. Client budgets simply aren't increasing. Instead, they're being flat-out reallocated away from traditional IT outsourcing and poured directly into enterprise AI initiatives. And this internal agentic AI growth, it's definitely not theoretical anymore. Between November 2025 and July 2026, the use of internal agents for research tasks exploded, growing 56 times over. Engineering usage grew 27 times, and legal grew 13 times. Because these agents operate in continuous loops, they're tackling the exact tasks that used to require entire teams of junior developers. The productivity gap between early adopters and legacy workers is just growing exponentially. Moving on to Section 2, regulators take control. AI as a strategic asset. Things are advancing so aggressively that regulators are stepping in and treating frontier models like literal national defense assets. In April 2026, the U.S. government completely blocked the export of Anthropic's Mythos and Fable models. Then in June, OpenAI voluntarily limited its GPT 5.6 release strictly to vetted partners, specifically at the government's request. And looming right around the corner in August is the EU AI Act, which carries absolutely massive potential fines. Make no mistake, governments are actively taking control of AI distribution. Which brings us to Section 3, the tech job threat. The market shock fractures labor. This rapid technological leap is severely fracturing the global tech job market. 2.5 lakh crore repeats. Put another way, that's roughly 30 billion US dollars. That is the massive amount of index market value wiped out from the Indian IT sector in just 3 days earlier this year. It was a savage sell-off, triggered entirely by fears of AI automation. Because when global clients pull back on massive legacy IT contracts to go fund their AI dreams, the ripple effects hit offshore centers instantly. To put that into perspective, analysts estimate that 30 to 40% of routine IT services revenue is currently at very high risk of AI deflation. We're talking about the routine app development, the maintenance, the testing work, the absolute bedrock of the $300 billion IT outsourcing model. It's all under threat. When an AI tool can perform a complex enterprise software migration in a few weeks instead of a few years, those massive legacy contracts are basically sitting ducks. Veteran tech investor Vinod Khosla really doesn't sugarcoat the endgame here. He bluntly states, by 2030, there will be no such thing as IT services. There will be no such thing as BPO. Those are gone. Now, obviously, new AI native services will pop up, but Khosla warns that this transition is going to be incredibly messy and disruptive. The whole era of throwing thousands of low-cost engineering hours at a single problem, yeah, that's ending. So let's get personal. Section 4, the leveraged worker trap. High fixed costs versus volatility. Zooming all the way in from a $300 billion industry, we hit the micro-level danger, personal financial precarity. A lot of tech workers have built their lives around a really dangerous assumption, the promise of a steady, uninterrupted, incredibly high-paying salary. But that assumption, it's a trap. When the sector suddenly slows down, an expensive lifestyle built entirely on peak market assumptions turns into a personal financial crisis overnight. Let's put a very real number on that trap. 1 lakh rupees. Right now, in Indian metro cities, so many young tech professionals are servicing home loan EMIs that easily exceed a lakh every single month. They bought these super expensive apartments when flat prices doubled, they took out long car loans, they took on heavy debt, all assuming their legacy tech jobs were bulletproof. A recent report in the Hindustan Times completely nailed the vibe with one terrifying question. What if I'm fired tomorrow? The anxiety out there is incredibly real. Highly leveraged workers are terrified about what happens to their mortgages if an AI agent suddenly figures out how to handle their routine coding or testing role. Startups are facing serious cash crunches. Venture funding is cooling off. And for the leveraged worker, a sudden layoff means their entire financial runway could just evaporate in a matter of weeks. Okay, deep breath. Let's pivot to the solutions. Section 5. Financial and career survival. Actionable expert advice. The situation is serious, for sure, but it is not hopeless. Experts are basically screaming these exact 3 survival tactics from the rooftops right now to protect yourself from industry deflation. Step 1, upskill aggressively in AI tools. Step 2, build a massive cash buffer, aiming for a 6 to 12-month emergency runway. And step 3, stop over-leveraging immediately on heavy fixed costs like luxury mortgages and shiny new car loans. Let's talk about upskilling, because it's not optional anymore. It is mandatory. You have to command the exact AI tools that are currently threatening your legacy job functions. If you write code, master AI coding assistants and quickly shift your focus to complex systems architecture. If you're in services, pivot hard to AI-driven consulting. You need to position yourself as the human who directs the AI, absolutely not the worker trying to compete against it. And this brings us to the ultimate financial reality check. We have to completely contrast our past spending habits with this new labor market. High EMIs, expensive car loans, and spending every dime you earn, that is a recipe for absolute disaster in an AI-deflated market. You must shift to lean living, aggressively pay down that debt, and prioritize building that massive 6 to 12-month cash runway. Financial advisors are crystal clear on this. In uncertain times, high liquidity and low overhead are literally your greatest career assets. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, vital thought. Take a hard look at your bank accounts tonight. Look at your monthly fixed costs. And ask yourself this. If the AI disruption hits your specific role tomorrow, exactly how long is your financial runway? Calculate your survival runway tonight and start taking real action to extend it tomorrow. Because knowledge is power, but only if you actually act on it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.